Summer 1943. The Kursk salient. A German tank commander sits inside a brand new Tiger, eye pressed to the gun sight, calm as a man who knows the odds are his. His 88mm gun can kill Soviet tanks from a mile and a half away. His frontal armor shrugs off almost everything thrown at it. He feels less like a soldier and more like a hunter on familiar ground. Then, from behind a low rise, something heaves into view. Squat, slab-sided, ugly, with an enormous gun barrel jutting out of its hull. A single shot. A 50-kilogram shell slams into the Tiger. The turret is torn clean off its ring and flung aside like a bottle cap. The crew never even understands what hit them. The Soviet beast killer has begun the hunt. After the catastrophe at Stalingrad, the Wehrmacht was desperate for a victory. The German command massed around 50 divisions on the Kursk bulge, nearly 3,000 tanks and assault guns. Everything was riding on the new heavy armor, the Tiger and the Panther. Frontal plating up to 100mm thick, long-barreled guns that could reach out and kill before any Soviet tank could shoot back. The Soviet command knew exactly what was coming. Intelligence had been tracking the buildup of German armor for weeks, and the math was grim. The T-34 and the KV-1, armed with 76mm guns, simply couldn't crack a Tiger at a mile and a half, while German crews picked off Soviet tanks at that same range almost at their leisure. The Red Army needed something fundamentally different, and it needed it fast. In January 1943, the State Defense Committee handed down the order: build a heavy self-propelled gun and build it quickly. The job went to Joseph Kotin, the chief designer behind the KV heavy tank. There was no time to start from scratch, so they didn't. They took the proven chassis of the KV-1, saving months of testing on the running gear. For the gun, they chose a weapon equal to the moment: the M10, a 152mm gun howitzer. It could fire flat and direct, like a cannon, or arc its rounds in, like a howitzer. Each shell weighed more than 50 kilograms. The design bureau turned out a working prototype in just 25 days. On the 14th of February, 1943, the SU-152 was officially accepted into service. Combat weight, 45.5 tons, a crew of 5. A 600 horsepower diesel pushed it to 43 kilometers an hour on a good road. Frontal armor, 75mm, and that gun could punch through a meter of reinforced concrete from a mile and a half away. On the 5th of July, the Germans attacked. Their tank crews were confident, and with good reason. Against most of what the Red Army could field, they held an overwhelming advantage. What they did not expect to meet was the SU-152. When a 48-kilogram concrete-piercing shell, traveling at over 500 meters per second, struck a Tiger, the result was catastrophic. Even when it didn't punch through the armor, welds split apart, armor plates buckled. The machinery inside was shaken to pieces by the sheer shock. Crews were left with severe concussions. And when a round caught the turret, it often simply tore it off its ring. The weapon was deadliest from ambush. The crews would tuck their machines behind the crests of hills or into tree lines. The first shot went into the lead vehicle. The column would grind to a halt. Then the rest were picked off, methodically, one by one. German tankers could see their comrades burning, but they couldn't see where the fire was coming from. The low silhouette of the Soviet guns made them all but invisible. The Ferdinand, with 200mm of frontal armor, was considered practically untouchable. To the SU-152, it was just a big target. A 152mm shell would either bore straight through that armor or tear the hull apart so badly that the machine was finished anyway. The Germans learned the lesson fast. Every low hill, every patch of woodland might be hiding a Soviet hunter. Operation Citadel collapsed. The Wehrmacht lost the strategic initiative in the east and never got it back. The SU-152 was a fearsome machine. but it was far from perfect. The biggest problem was inherited from the KV-1, the transmission, with its clutch and brake steering. Driving the thing was brutal, physical work. The levers demanded enormous strength, and the clutches overheated on any long march. More vehicles were knocked out by their own mechanical failures than by enemy fire, which infuriated the commanders and buried the repair crews in work. The second curse was ventilation. During heavy firing, the fighting compartment filled with propellant fumes. The crew coughed, their eyes streamed, and after a few rounds in quick succession, they had to stop and let it clear. In a real firefight, that pause was a luxury they could rarely afford, and the ammunition load was just 20 rounds. For a gun that size, that was understandable, but the loading was painfully slow. The heavy shells were stowed in different racks all over the hull, and pulling them out under fire was no easy task. In the autumn of 1943, production of the KV-1 came to an end. Its replacement was the IS, the Joseph Stalin, and when the base tank went, the SU-152 went with it. Production stopped that December. In all, just 670 were built. But the beast killer wasn't killed off, it was reborn. In early 1944, a new vehicle appeared, built on the IS chassis, the SU-152. From the outside, it looked much like its predecessor. Inside, it was a different animal entirely. The new transmission, with planetary steering, erased the single worst headache. A driver could now hold the controls for hours without exhausting himself. The vehicle was more agile, which mattered enormously in city fighting. Breakdowns became rare. The armor was redesigned more intelligently, a 90mm frontal plate set at a steep angle. The German 88 often couldn't punch through it head-on. The ventilation was fixed, a powerful fan was added, and at last the crew could keep firing without a break. And the ammunition stowage was reworked from hard-won experience, putting the shells within easier reach of the loader. The ISU-152 reached the front in the spring of 1944, just in time for the Great Offensives. These guns fought through the rest of the war, from Leningrad to the Crimea, from Warsaw to Königsberg. They stormed cities. They flattened bunkers at point-blank range. They dropped shells on infantry, sheltering behind the reverse slopes of hills, places where an ordinary tank gun simply couldn't reach. In April 1945, the ISU-152 rolled into Berlin in the leading ranks of the assault groups. Narrow streets, barricades, a Panzerfaust waiting in every cellar. The crews worked with cold precision, shell after shell tearing through fortified buildings, clearing the way for the infantry behind them. On the 2nd of May, the Berlin garrison surrendered. In 2 years, from the fields of Kursk to the heart of the enemy's lair, the beast killer had done its work. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future fascinating stories.